Today's going to be welcome everybody. Today is a very good day. I hope you are well. And today we're going to learn something about free and OS open source tools to upskill. We are waiting for some people to come online, so let's wait for a couple of minutes. But today is going to be an excellent topic where we're going to learn about free OS tools and everything. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. If people can confirm that you're able to hear me, that would be good. Uh, Please confirm. Hello, Akshay. Hmm. Yes, I have started, but yes, okay. I just wanted someone to confirm that they are able to hear me. I think Jaideep just confirmed that he is able to hear me on YouTube channel. So let's start. Thank you very much, Jaideep. Very much appreciated. Aline Martin also, thank you very much. Oh, Aline. Oh, I have a guest from US. Wow, that's really an honor. Aline is based out of US, but very soon she will be joining us in the in UK. She's emigrating back to UK. So and apparently she's going to become my badminton partner. So that would be a good thing. So coming back to the topic, welcome everybody. Today we have an excellent topic which is very close to my heart and which is about OS tools and how to upskill yourself. Uh, Something about myself. Um, my name is Guru, and I have only 22 years of IT experience, but Elaine is more experienced than me, and I hope to bring her online and share her skills in a video very soon. I hope somewhere in end of May, where she will be definitely in UK. I'm also joined by Akshay, who is a good friend and a community builder, and who helps me a lot in Agile Guru, this web channel, and of course helping me on the media side and all those things. So let's start. Um, the intention of this chat is to understand what OS tools and why to use it and how it can enhance your career, right? So number one, we'll find the agenda, which is why use free tools and the use cases. Without a use case, it's not a good idea. So you need to have some outcome to do it. For example, it can be used in application development, monitoring workflows, and notes taking, knowledge share, documentation, and entertainment. Entertainment may be yes and no, but most of the time we now have almost everything is browser based, but there are some tools which can help you out. Akshay, if you can do me a favor, if there is any questions, interrupt me so that I can answer them. Okay, thank you. And by the way, in this session, we may ask some people to join us in a chat window in Google Meet. We will post the link a little bit later, and you can join us and we can have a chat. That one will not be recorded though, because of privacy concerns and everything. So what we're going to do is I will do the presentation, and in the last 1 minute, we'll share the Google Meet video, and I'll stop the broadcasting so that people can join in and we can have a general chat for 15-20 minutes or even more, where I can go into more details of the tools I use and everything else. And of course, if I would have the honor of having Eileen, that would be good. But of course, it's hard to decide. Nothing is planned here. Okay. Now, why use free tools? Ultimately, our careers are defined by our knowledge, right? Learning things, sharing things, applying those knowledge or learnings in an office environment or a commercial environment. Now, how can you be very effective? Number one is learning effective is to make sure that you save time and money for doing any commercial task in the office. Let's say if my manager, there's a requirement me to write a code, and let's say it's in Java. If I take 3 days to install Java and everything, my manager will be like not the most pleased person. But if I automate the provisioning and the environment with one click and just go for a coffee and come back and finish the code 1 day early, it's good for everyone. It also increases productivity and the happiness. Of course, it increases your capabilities, as I mentioned, where once you start developing things and you see the result, it motivates you, and and you write good quality code, good quality service, and test it properly so that when the end customer, whether it's internal or external, can consume the same thing and make yourself better. For example, if I sit there and not automate things or use free tools to do things, I have to manually do things, means you're stressed and you start to become a more not the most helpful person in the team, and it kind of kills the team culture or the DevOps culture. So it's better that you use tools or free tools or use tools to make sure that you deliver quicker, motivated better, and it makes you a better person overall. Now, that's the learning bit. Now, for example, we always want to enhance our careers. And once you've been in a company for some time, you want to do more and the opportunities are not there, you can always use OS and free tools to enhance your skills, learn more, maybe not as equal to a commercial software, but an equivalent OS or free tool, you can learn the at least 60 to 70%, I would say, and then try to use a commercial. For example, if you are doing something with EKS or GKE, which is a Kubernetes engine, you can install a local version on your machine, try it out. Okay, you may not be able to do auto scaling, but at least you'll be able to deploy an application and you know 80% of what needs to be done. So similar on. So you move on and do more. So if you look at me, I started as a Java developer, and but I learned servers, networks, and all those things. And using free and open source tools, I learned them all. Okay. As you mentioned, in this modern world, only learning one thing and being only one thing, like a developer or a tester or an infrastructure engineer, in the long run is not a good idea. You need to understand at least three or four, and they say master at least one, but you need to be jack of two, three more. For example, I'm good at Spring Boot and everything, but my AWS skills are also good, and so is GCP. I'm tending more towards GCP, but you can use. So become a polyglot technologist so that you can do more and enjoy a varied role within the company so that you're not stuck in a rut. Now, one thing also is once you start to use open tools, if you put it as part of a CI/CD tool set and propose things, then it gives you an opportunity to use the right tools. For example, if you're writing a Java program to compile, run the test package and everything, you can use tools like Maven or Gradle or SBT or whatever. Now, these are open source tools and they are free tools by Apache Software Foundation. So, if you put them in the right place and use this as part of your build, and build tool itself, the most popular, of course, is Jenkins. It's an open source tool too. So use the right tool to deliver software and then deliver it to the customer in the most effective and the most efficient and the cheapest way. Remember, effective is first, then the cheapest. Don't go for the cheapest and deliver software which is of not good quality. And of course, it's more fun, right? You do stuff and enjoy stuff, and then you get mentored by good people like Akshay, who mentors me, and I mentor him. It's both ways. So now comes this, as I mentioned, is a very demo oriented section, and I want people to to participate and ask questions, but I'll be showing the glimpses of what I use and what can be used, and I'll be showing demos. So the right hand side of the screen, which you see here, is the tools which I use for demoing purposes and all those things. Now, if you see, this casting itself uses something called OBS Studio, which is Open Broadcast Studio, which is an open source free tool to do the broadcasting. Imagine if OBS was not there, some other tools were there. These are commercial software. So using OBS, I'm able to meet you people and broadcast and share my knowledge, and it's all free. So you can install it and start video on YouTube. Even YouTube is free. Okay, YouTube software may not be free, but you can use YouTube to share your knowledge. Right. Right. Now, from a development tools point of view, normally you would be writing code. I would say 90-95% of the time. So some of the tools which is good for development generally is something called VS Code, which looks like this. VS Visual Studio Code, it's called, and I'm going to open it. So if you see, this is Visual Studio Code, and if you see, it has plugins for literally everything, for Kubernetes, for Terraform, and simple coding even for YAML and all those things with all syntax helps. So this way, VS Code is a free software and you can install extensions. For example, let's say if I do for, let's say, Python. So if you see, Python is installed, extension pack is installed. This way it will allow me to write code and do the linting. Now, one more good example is something called linting. Linting means you integrate an open source tool called Sonar, which I'll come to in a bit. And then once you connect it, that's it. You can literally run quality scanning within VS Code itself. Okay, so I'm going to quit Visual Code. The next time, if like me, you are a Java developer, I use something called Spring Source Tool Suite. It is a customized version of Eclipse IDE, and it is specifically very good if you are writing Java-based applications using Spring and you're using cloud native like Kubernetes. It has literally the plugins. But unfortunately, given the functionality it has, it's a bit heavyweight compared to VS Code. But VS Code also can do all the things which, to a certain degree, means Spring Suite is, I would say, a superset of VS Code from Spring perspective. But for all other things, VS Code is by far the thing. So check out Microsoft VS Code, and if you are a Java developer and you need help with Spring Boot, SpringSource tool suite is by far the good. And if you need any help on that, please ping me. Now, one of the things, as they say, a picture says 1,000 words. One of the tools which will allow you to see what is happening in your world using an open source tool is something called Grafana. Grafana is a free tool which can be self-hosted, and if you see here, it is hosted on my own Kubernetes cluster. DevOps.alacrity.com is my own Kubernetes cluster, and I have not paid any money. And you can literally do graphs as long as the data source is available. In my case, I have currently connected to Google Cloud Monitoring, which literally gives me the graphs for free. Imagine doing this and setting up the graphs. It will be a really pain. So Grafana is a single pane of glass which can literally connect to a heck lot of data sources like PostgreSQL, this one, or you can think of Prometheus. There is a heck lot, especially Zipkin, Tempo, Jaeger are for cloud deployment. So if you want to learn more, I will be posting new videos on that one in the very near future. So one thing, definitely Grafana is part of site reliability engineering tool set, I can say. There are others, New Relic, but those are commercial software. So Grafana is one of them. Now, as I mentioned, Grafana is to visualize what is happening in production or dev or infrastructure wise. Now, in that infrastructure, you will be running some code. Now, whether it is of good quality or not, you can do some scanning as part of the CI/CD or as part of your development, as I showed in VS Code. One of the things which you can use a free source is called Sonar. Sonar source is a free, there is a commercial version, but Sonar free version is more than enough for almost every language, including Terraform and Go and Java for sure. And it can fail your build or succeed your build based on criteria, what we call as profiles. So if you see, there are C++, C, CloudFormation, Docker, Flex, Go, JSON, JSP, JavaScript, PHP, Python. You can think of there is one. Even for YAML, it is there. So you can literally configure quality profile, and you can fail the build if you need to, if certain criteria is not met, like 80% brand coverage and 95% line coverage, something like that. Okay. Any questions, Akshay? Yet. Okay. Now, let's say you're developing an application and you want to build it, but in a commercial organization or even you want to run something as part of your code commit. Let's say you commit a code to Git and you want to build software run automatic. Remembering to do that on your PC all the time, you may forget it. So it's better you use some open source tool like Jenkins to do the build, which is to take the source code, run some build tool, create the package, run some integration test, or do other things like scanning and create an artifact, and then take that artifact and deploy it to different environment with different configurations. To do all those things, if you automate it where I only click once, is less error prone and an enjoyment way of doing things rather than doing it manually. And then because it's on a central server, it's not like it works on my machine, problem is not there anymore. Yeah. So Jenkins is one of them. Of course, there are cloud native tools like Code Build or Code Deploy or Cloud Build or Cloud Deploy and all, which is cloud vendor specific. But Jenkins is considered one of the best. On Windows, there is Octopus Deploy and all those things, but Jenkins runs globally on any kind of machine. So it's very and it supports dynamic provisioning as well using something called a Kubernetes plugin, which I will show maybe in subsequent videos. Now, next comes, so we have looked at editors, then visualizing your application infrastructure, and then your code quality and the build. The next comes is monitoring. Now, what is monitoring? For example, let's say I have a website called Agile Guru, and if I ask Akshay to check this every 1 minute whether it's up or not, most probably he will swear at me and tell me to bugger off. And he said, I don't want to do that. But what I can do is try to automate it. So I can use a free, if you log on to Google Console, by the way, you get free, right? Um, and then you can do something called uptime check. And uptime checks, up to 50,000 checks per month is free. And this can be triggered from different places. For example, if I do a check, it will only be from Europe. But if Akshay does a check, it will be only from Asia. But what if I check my website whether it's available from North America or South America? Let's say my customers are there. Then you can set up where to check the things. And it's very easy to set up. You can use IAC tools or you can use the GUI to set it up. So if you see, it's very easy. You go and set it up. I will go into details, but I'm just showing a snapshot. Use HTTPS protocol, the host name, check every 5 minutes. You have to check whether it sends a 200. If you want to do alert, you can do it. So this is one of them. The next one is is something called N8N. I'm going to just show a small synopsis of what it can do. This is an open source application which is very close to my heart. It can be a desktop application or it can be a web-based application where you can write workflows. And one of the things, for example, let's say in my case, I have 5 websites, right? Let's say if I want to check whether Agile Guru is up or not every 1 minute. Now, Uptime Check can do that, but I want more of a visual tool. What I have done is using N8N, I have set up something saying every 1 minute, right? So manual trigger in it, this is automatic. Send a request, HTTP, and I'm expecting a good result. You can send authentication headers and all those things. This is a simple case scenario. And let's say if I come in and execute, I don't have to sit there type in the URLs. This is all saved. This is all done as code. So N8N. There can be complex workflows. For example, all of my website I want to check one by one. This is Agile Guru, WW, ThoughtWorks, ThoughtBrains, Alacrity Sys and everything. Imagine doing and going to the browser all the time. That will be a boring kind of work. Here I have made it into a execute workflow by clicking. Let's say a tester can use it, manual tester, and this can be parameterized, or it can be automatically shared to run in the night. So, for example, hey, it's checking everything. Yep, it looks good to me. So, N8N is one of the softwares, and it can literally do a lot of them. This is a simple use case. I will be demoing it in the next week on some complex structures like trying to connect to something mail and getting an email, making it to an Excel or fetch from database. It has like 300 plus integrations, and all this can be hosted on an app, which is a Mac app, or it can be done on a website as well. It's a Docker based image, and this is an open source tool. And it's a free tool and you can use it. So it's an exceptionally good one. There will be a demo next week. Are you sure? Yes, I want to close it. So this is the one. So as I mentioned, this is for monitoring. Monitoring is repeating tasks, check your websites, check database and do something. Just execute this and you can be productive in something else, like writing code or playing badminton or having listening to good music or even having a lunch. Oh, next.
Before next,
Hmm.
we have a question in the comment section.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sanity is asking, hello Guru sir, I wanted to know about Kubernetes. Is Kubernetes is an open source or Google Community tool?
Kubernetes is an open source tool which is owned by CNCF. It is owned by CNCF, Cloud Native Foundation, and it owns the source code and everything. But remember, K8s is a project, it's not a product. K8s can run as binaries on your own infrastructure or on cloud. But if they run on cloud, the cloud providers enhance it with their own services. For example, if Kubernetes, if you define something as a service as a load balancer, Google will go and create it with that one. Yes, it will create a load balancer and it will do the thing. But if it's on prem, you cannot create a load balancer altogether. This has to be defined and then integrated. Okay. So K8s is a project, but GKE, EKS, or OpenShift is a product on top of K8s. Yeah,
Okay.
done?
We
Okay.
have two more questions. Should we go right now or after some?
Yes, you can go ahead. Yeah, ask.
Okay. Next question, Nitish is asking, how can we integrate with Google Cloud for monitoring?
Integrate Google Cloud for monitoring. Okay. Can we do something? Because we are running out of time, we will, when we start the joint session, ask Nitish to join in. Nitish, can Akshay, can you do me a favor? Can you share the link? You can share the link and we can do it in 3 4 minutes time. Nitish, you can join us also. Uh, Anirban, Day, you can also ask this question in the shared meeting because I have to be time constrained. Okay. So coming back to the next one, and this is the last one. This is also very close to my heart, right? So one thing is about documentation. Now, for example, let's say I write a lot of documentation you want to share, and let's say you want to self-host it in your own company. You can use something called Medium, but sometimes Medium is not free. Let's say you want to host it yourself. So what I use is something called Wiki.js. Wiki.js is a JavaScript based software where you can install it on your own and it's free, and you can install your own blogs or wiki sites. For example, this is a blank site which I have created and you can install it. All this is for free. I will be putting some content in wiki, and if you want to contribute, you can also join us to do that. Now, this is for wiki where online you go and edit content, but this is not for publishing. Like, for example, if you want to create a website, normally you wouldn't put it as a wiki. For that, you can use something called, if you look at Agile Guru, my own website, if you see, I am not an HTML developer by any way. But if you look, I have a very consistent look and feel. And how do I do that? I use something called JBake. JBake is like a static file generator where you use your code and do that, right? And there are others also like Gilekills and lot of other things. What it does, you write the content either in HTML or Markdown or anything, and it parses it and packages it and makes it into a deploy static HTML code. And if you look at mine, I literally have done that. And if you see cd dev personal www and www, if you see, it uses something called jbake.property. So it has one. You just put in the content, and for example, you see, I have just put the title. There is no index or something like that, right? It'll automatically, when you build it, it'll automatically create the content and put it into content website. So it'll output website. So if you see, the index.html here has all the templates attached to it. So what we call is static file generator. This way, you can concentrate on the content, which is the middle bit, and all others can be generated as part of your workflow or contingent. So if you look at this one, it has nice menu. For example, I have three of them. This is for my cloud, and there is one more for DevOps. So I have generated this using JBake. So tomorrow, if there is a look and feel change, I change it in one place and just build it again. So I don't have to use my brain on look and feel. I'll be more concerned about the content. Is there any more questions? We can start. Okay. The next one, I'll finish the last one. Last but not the least, this is the last one, I think, and we are good on time, Akshay. I think so, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfectly fine.
So let's say if you want to write some code, normally you would use something like Node.js or Java. Now, in corporate environments, most of the time you do not have what we call admin access to install software outside your home directory. Let's say if you have access to only your home directory, what can you do? Let's say you're using JavaScript, or let's say Java, or Maven, or you want to install some other tools which are Java based. There are two alternatives. One is called NVM. NVM is called Node Version Manager. So if you see NVM list, I have installed the latest one. But for some reason, if you want to install 4.9, it will install this in your local folder. So this will be inside your home folder, so you don't have to have admin access. So you can have different version and see everything works and then commit the code. A similar tool is called SDK Man, which is available for SDK Man. This is even better. Node VM NVM is only for Node, but SDK Man literally is a software development kit manager where it can install a lot of tools. For example, you see all this is, for example, Groovy, or let's say even JBake is available. That's how I install it anyway. Or let's say Kotlin or Cobweb, Maven, Scala, SBT. Let's check one. Okay. Let's say if I want to install Groovy, let's assume. So SDK list Grovy Groovy. 4.1 is installed. Let's say I want to work with 4.10. I will say SDK install Groovy, and I don't have to go to the internet, find the right website, and download the exe, put it in the right directory. All these things is kind of waste of the time. And imagine if you have SDK installed on your Jenkins server, you can literally use this command and one time, and Cloudless will be installed. So you can work on the productivity rather than trying to install software the unorganized way in different folders and making a mess of it. And that's why, as they said, this is all written in code. So you can say install Java, Groovy, Maven, and everything. And all this, you get it for free. And this is part of open source tools. And that's all from my side. And now what we can do is we will go on to the interactive session. But for others who are not joining us, thank you very much for joining this thing. And thank you for listening in. And if you need anything, let me know or Akshay know. And next week, we will be working on workflows using NAN. Please don't miss it. I will set up the agenda, but that will be good fun. If you can install that and be ready, that will be even better. But if not, we can do on the demo, and we'll be doing some cool stuff using NAN. So till then, take care and bye to everybody else. But other people who wants to talk to us, please join the interactive session. The link is given in the Google chat. So I hope to see you soon, and see you then.